So the senior class offers its thanks and gives you, this. It's from all of us. And it has written here, Buffy Summers, class protector.
After weeks of speculation around when Buffy New Sunnydale, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Chloe Zhao's revival of Buffy the Vampire Slayer would finally premiere, the Slayer herself was forced to post an Instagram reel to let Scoobies all over the world know that the project would be no longer moving forward with Hulu. With new and original Buffy fans alike eager to revisit the Hellmouth with a Gen Z Slayer, this announcement really felt like a stake through the heart at a time where seeing someone fight the good fight is so desperately needed. Hulu's decision to cancel Buffy New Sunnydale is particularly puzzling. The fans are vocal and dedicated, it was being made by an Oscar-winning director and the original star, plus it's golden IP for the company, guaranteed to pay back its investment. So what went wrong?
And Xander's crying and not talking, and I was having fruit punch, and I thought, well, Joyce will never have any more fruit punch, ever, and she'll never have eggs, or yawn, or brush her hair, not ever, and no one will explain to me why.
When Buffy the Vampire Slayer New Sunnydale was first announced, it immediately stood apart from earlier attempts to extend the franchise. It was the first Buffy project since the original series premiered in 1997 to involve Sarah Michelle Gellar, giving it a sense of legitimacy and continuity that previous spin-offs had not carried. In interviews, Gellar made clear that her decision was closely tied to the creative leadership of Chloe Zhao, whose latest film Hamnet was nominated for 8 Academy Awards. She has described herself as a fierce long-term fan of Buffy, and her steer on updating the series away from the now-cancelled creator Joss Whedon had Sarah surprisingly saying yes. Gellar had repeatedly said that Zhao was the right person to take Buffy forward, pointing to her care for the material and her understanding of why the story should continue today in 2026. With two huge names at the centre, the Buffy revival quickly snowballed, gathering a wealth of fan support from Sarah Michelle Gellar's social media updates. At a time when TV executives, especially at Hulu, are commissioning a wave of successful revivals and reunions from the same era, including Scrubs Season 10, which was released in February, and Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Just Unfair, premiering in April, Buffy seemed like a slam dunk, with arguably a stronger relevance. Fans have remained loyal to the Slayer for years, continuing to read comics, buy merchandise, continuously watching the series on Disney+, and listening to Slayer's A Buffyverse story on Audible in 2003. There has been a continuous appetite for Sunnydale since Season 7 ended in May 2003. The audience engagement was matched by a visible push from Gellar herself. She used social media to build excitement, sharing updates from development, and even posting the Zoom call where she introduced the new Slayer, Ryan Kiera Armstrong. Known for Anne with an E and Star Wars Skeleton Crew, Armstrong, aged 16, represented a clear generational handover, while Gellar's return as Buffy provided a strong hook. Additional casting included the studio's Chase Sui Wonders in a guest role and Sarah Bock from Severance, reinforced the sense that the series would create space for younger performers within an established framework and catapult their careers much as the original had done for Gellar herself. By the time the commissioned pilot was finished filming in Los Angeles in July 2025, the revival had already generated significant buzz. Behind-the-scenes images of recreated Sunnydale sets circulated wildly, and Gellar's continued promotion kept the project at the centre of fan conversation. A release window in late 2026 or early 2027 had been widely expected, and everything about the production suggested that it was moving forward with confidence. That is what made the announcement on March 14th feel so unexpected.
Don, listen to me. Listen. I love you. I will always love you. This is the work that I have to do.
The cancellation itself unfolded in a way that only deepened the sense of confusion. According to Sarah Michelle Gellar in an interview with People, Craig Erwich, president of the Disney Television Group and head of Hulu Originals, called to say that the project would not be moving forward. Gellar was attending her first South by Southwest and was about to head on stage to promote Ready or Not 2, when she received the call and had been answering questions about the revival in press interviews at the festival. At the same time, director Chloe Zhao was ready to attend the Oscars that same weekend. Speaking to People, Gellar said plainly that nobody saw this coming. She also pointed to the timing, noting that the news arrived on the Friday of what should have been Chloe's victory lap for an incredible film and my world premiere of something that I worked very hard on, adding that says something. The sense that the announcement overshadowed what should have been a major professional weekend for both women has become part of how the cancellation is being understood. Buffy fans already had a real-life big bad in the form of creator Joss Whedon, but now a new antagonist has emerged. Gellar stated that one executive had been consistently an obstacle, describing that person as someone who was only not a fan of the original, but was proud to constantly remind us that he had never seen the entirety of the series and how it wasn't for him. That dynamic, she suggested, shaped the development process from the beginning, creating what she described as an uphill battle. The executive has since been identified in reports from Variety as Craig Erwich, raising further questions around how a project built on such a well-known and widely loved property could be overseen by someone openly disconnected from it. At the same time, industry reports from Deadline and Variety pointed to issues with the pilot itself. The script was described as imperfect by sources, and there were suggestions that Zhao's sensibilities might not have aligned completely with expectations for the series, with some discussion of whether the tones skewed too young and might have benefited from a darker approach. There was also speculation around the structure of the pilot and how much of Gellar's Buffy featured in it. Even so, these were the kinds of structural issues that are typically revised and refined during development, and only a pilot had been ordered so far, so these could have been sorted. The reaction from fans was immediate and intense. Petitions began circulating, videos appeared across social media platforms, and there were visible efforts to push for the show's return. Gellar said that she had been reading the responses, including messages from David Boreanaz, who played her love interest Angel on the original show, which she described as a reminder of the enduring connection between the cast and its audience. Taken together, the circumstances around Buffy New Sunnydale point to a project that had already secured two elements that most revivals struggle to achieve: meaningful creative buy-in and sustained audience demand. Gellar's return alone marked a major shift for the franchise, and Zhao's involvement brought a level of attention and care. For now, the future of Buffy remains uncertain. The intellectual property is still held by Disney, and there have been suggestions that another version could emerge, but Buffy New Sunnydale, as it was conceived, has been slain. What remains is the response it has generated from fans and from cast. There is a clear appetite for more Buffy. As Gellar put it to People, the legacy is still there, and the cancellation does not take away from that.
Tell Giles I figured it out. And I'm okay. I give my love to my friends. You have to take care of them now. You have to take care of each other. You have to be strong. Dawn, the hardest thing in this world is to live in it. Be brave. Live.